What's up guys, John here, and today we're going to talk about PlayAsia and a lot of awesome games that are still available on their site. Now, all the games I'm going to talk about, they're not pre-order, they're not sold out, they're all available at the time of this video. So if you like any of the games I show you, buy them now before they sell out. So when I think about buying video games online, at least back in the day I would think about eBay, and I did get a lot of good games that way, but I got everything I want, or certain things are super expensive. And I love shooters and I love just Japanese video games in general, and not everything gets ported over here to the United States, but systems like the PS4 are region free. So for me, PlayAsia is a go-to site. Now, when I think about buying video games at a retail level, let's just use GameStop for an example. Those games that are $50, $60 brand new, I know will eventually come down in price, and I can get them for a lot of times under $10 or under $20, which is cool. And sometimes I want to support developers and buy the games when they come out brand new. But that's a very rare instance when stuff like that happens. But regardless, when I want to buy games at a retail level, I go to places like PlayAsia because those are games that aren't going to come down in price. I'm not going to see them on clearance shelves. If anything, used, they're going to be worth, or people are going to sell them for, they're only worth what someone's going to pay for it. They're going to sell them for double, triple the price. And I'm not trying to pay that. So for me, I just bite the bullet, and when I see the good games posted on their website, I buy them. And again, if you guys like any of the stuff I'm going to show you, I strongly advise you to strike while the iron's hot and get it now. For example, a game like Fast Tracker I'm going to show you that's awesome. I own it on the Dreamcast. They only made 2,200 of that game for the Vita and the PS4. So if you like that, I'd buy it before it sells out, because trust me, when it does, you're going to be paying that $100 or whatever on eBay. So anyway, let's get right into it and talk about the PlayStation 4. So the first game I'm going to talk about is Super Robot Wars X. And if you've played any of the games in the Robot Taisen series, I keep wanting to say Robot Taisen, but this is Robot Wars, you would know that this is an amazing series of strategy RPGs that for me originated with Super Robot Taisen Original Generation 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Advance. Now, there's another game that's unlike any game in the series, and that's the Robot Taisen game on the DS. And a couple of those characters appear in Super Robot Wars OG Moondwellers that is unfortunately sold out on PlayAsia's website. But in that game, you have Ashen and Haken Browning, and they're two of the best male and female protagonists of like any video game or RPG I've ever played. So yeah, this series, it's translated in English. Unfortunately, there's no English voice acting, at least not that I know of, but it's definitely a series to get into if you're into strategy RPGs. Now, forgive me if I mispronounced the name of this game, but I think it's Ketsu DeathTyranny. It looks like an awesome cave shooter. Now, I know there's games in this series that came out on the PlayStation 3, and there's actually a good one that came out on the DS. Now, that game's very expensive and very hard to find. It's an import game. So one day, hopefully, I have my fingers crossed, I'll run across it for a good deal. But yeah, this just looks like an awesome bullet hell shooter, and it's got that old school, it's got that, like everything's a sprite, everything's bright and colorful. It's just the way that a shooter is supposed to look, at least to my taste. So this is kind of one of the pricier games on their website. It was like $62 or $63. But according to what I've seen online, it's supposed to come with like an art book and like a collector's edition kind of thing. I don't know if I'm going to get that. I didn't see anything on PlayAsia's website saying that it comes with that, but I did order this actually recently, and I haven't got it yet, so hopefully it will come with that art book. But either way, I know I'm going to have a lot of fun with the shooter. Okay, so here we have an interesting game. This game is Capcom Belt Action Collection multi-language. So there's two versions of this game, and this one actually has subtitles in English. So what is this? So this is a collection of classic Capcom beat-em-ups, and it appears to be 7 games on this disc, which include Final Fight Captain Commando, The King of the Dragons, Knights of the Round, and Warriors of Fate. And those 2 additional games never ported to anything else, so it says on their website, which are Armored Warriors and Battle Circuit. Now, this looks like a very interesting collection. At the time of this video, this game is only $25 or $25.99. It's a few percent off. So yeah, this is one of those games that I feel like when it's gone, it's going to be gone. And guys, you can get it now cheap. I'm a huge fan of beat 'em ups and arcade style of games. So yeah, this game looks pretty interesting to me. So here it is, Fast Tracker. You guys knew I was going to talk about it in this video. This is a game I've had on the Dreamcast for a while now, and I really enjoyed. But I really enjoyed all those NG Dev Team shooters that they ported over to the Dreamcast. Now, there's a couple of NG Dev Team games that I really want ports of. One of them being Neo XYX. That's available for the Dreamcast. It's like a $100 game, and I will get that game eventually. But if they do a PS4 port, that would be great, because I can just order it right from PlayAsia. And hopefully, one day we'll get a console release of Ryzen. If you guys watch my channel, I talk about it all the time. I want them to bring Ryzen to the PlayStation 4, the Dreamcast, something. You know, it was only released on the AES, MVS, no ROMs, can't download nothing. So please, NG Dev Team, release Ryzen on a console. I hope somebody watches this video. But yeah, Fast Striker, awesome game. It's like $35 for the collector's edition on the PS4 and the PS Vita. Totally worth it. There's only 2,200 copies on the PS4 and for the Vita available worldwide, so get your copy now while it's in stock. Okay, up next we have Bullitt Girls Fantasia. Now this was released for the PlayStation Vita and the PS4, and nothing special about this game. I honestly don't know a lot about this game, but it looks like a very interesting third-person shooter, kind of like an action RPG third-person shooter, so definitely looks like something bred in Japan, but looks like a pretty interesting game. I'd definitely like to check it out if I could find it cheap. Okay, so here we have Million Hearts Arcana Blood, and I don't know if this is part of the Arcana Heart series of fighters. I certainly was a huge fan, or am a huge fan of Arcana Hearts on the PlayStation 2. I love that fighting game, but this looks like a very interesting fighter. It's got very fast 2D action, kind of like, you know, SNK versus Capcom or Marvel versus Capcom or X-Men Children of Atom, you know, any of those Capcom fighting games. It has really fast fighting mechanics, and I really like games like that. But yeah, this looks like an interesting fighter, and if the price is right, I'd definitely be willing to check it out. But right now, it's almost $64 on PlayAsia's website. Ah, the Game Paradise, such a great Saturn shooter. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the Saturn shooters that you can still get that's great for under $100. Because let's face it, guys, most of those games are insanely expensive. You think your Earthbound and your Chrono Trigger cost money? Get into the world of shooters and vintage Japanese software, my God, this stuff gets expensive. But anyway, this is a great shooter brought over to the PlayStation 4. I'm really surprised they brought this over. And because they brought the Game Paradise over, I feel like they should maybe bring Harmful Park over. Hopefully somebody over in Japan will port Harmful Park over to the PlayStation 4. I mean, hell, I'll even take Dreamcast release, port it over to something. But if you missed out on this on the Saturn, or you don't have the money, or don't feel like importing, or whatever the case may be, this is definitely a great shooter on the system. And the original version, which is the one I got, actually sold out, but they have so many other versions they're releasing with DLC packs, and hopefully one day we will get a definitive edition of Game Paradise that has everything on one disc. Battlegregor. This is another one of those great Saturn shooters. You know, I'm real big into the aesthetic of like Strikers 1945 and shooters like that. So when I found out about Battlegregor years ago, I was all in. I loved it. I played a ton of it. Now, this is not the cheapest game on the Saturn, so I strongly recommend, if you want to play this game, buy it on the PlayStation 4. I'm currently having my copy sent to me. Not the cheapest game on the PlayAsia website, but it's like $50, totally worth it. And guys, trust me, if you want to play this game, get it now. It's an awesome shooter, and you don't want to get stuck paying double, triple the price. Get it now while it's still in stock. Okay guys, so I know I said everything would be in stock, available for order. This is a game actually available for pre-order, so sorry about that. But this is Earth Atlantis, and it was too cool not to talk about. I mean, just look at the aesthetic of this game. It reminds me of like total steampunk. And if you've ever played games like In the Hunt, which is an awesome Saturn game, by the way, and I think they made it for PlayStation 1, but anyway, so this really reminds me of In the Hunt. You know, you can move your ship in multiple directions, and just the way the weapons and just the way that the mechanics look like they work for this game really remind me of In the Hunt. But I mean, look at the visuals on this game. It looks beautiful. So this is something I'm definitely interested in. Again, it's up for pre-order now, so I'll probably get it when they release it. Okay, so this is the last PlayStation 4 game I'm going to talk about, and there's a little bit of shenanigans going on with this game for two reasons. For one, you can't buy it anymore. It's sold out on their website. I know I said everything was going to be available. Just two games, the last one and this one, are weird, I swear to God. And the other thing is, this game never had an English translation. It was made only in Japanese. So why am I talking about this game? The only reason I'm talking about this game, it's called Brave Neptunia. And it's in the Hyperdimension Neptunia series. And what interested me about this game, see, the Hyperdimension Neptunia series I'm really into, okay? They started off on the PlayStation 3, and then there was many Vita games, 7 to be exact. At least I think there was 7. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. But I got all the Vita games. It's a universe that kind of has to do with the console wars. So if you want to know more about it, look into the Hyperdimension Neptunia series. But this game has platforming elements, and it really, if you look at the trailer, it's an RPG, and it really reminds me of Odin Sphere, the way that the platforming is. So I'm totally intrigued by that. I mean, Idea Factory or whoever made this game, come on, like bring this over to North America. Am I the only person that's into the Hyperdimension Neptunia series? I don't know, but it would be cool to see this one ported over. Okay, that was it for the PlayStation 4 for now, but let's talk about a couple other systems. Now, I don't own a Switch, not yet. There is one in the household that I'm living at, so if I need one, I can use one. So I'm not going to go real in-depth on the Switch, but I will talk about a couple of Switch games, a couple of 360 games, and a Vita game. Okay, so this collection of shooters for the Switch looks very interesting. This is the Psycho Collection, Volume 1 for the Nintendo Switch. Sucks this didn't get a PS4 release, but whatever. It's got 4 awesome shooters. It's got Strikers 1945, Soul Divide. Now, Soul Divide is a very cheap PS1 shooter. It's like $15 if you can find it. I don't know why it's so cheap, but it is. If you see Soul Divide, pick it up on the PlayStation 1. You got Samurai Aces and you got Gunbird, the famous Gunbird. Now, the footage you're seeing is the MAME version of Samurai Aces, and I did check. The same version is on the Nintendo Switch collection, and man, this is an awesome collection of shooters, and I hope it gets a PS4 release. Okay, and also on the Nintendo Switch, we have the Psycho Collection Volume 2. Now, I did order this, even though I don't have a Nintendo Switch, just because of the lineup of games. So we have Strikers 1945 2, which I do not own, Tengai, Gunbird 2, and Dragon Blaze. Now, if you want a copy of Dragon Blaze, I do believe that game was released on the PlayStation 2 and PAL regions, and I think it's pretty expensive. I tried to hunt down a copy one time, but yeah, I had to order this because I know when I get a Switch, if I didn't buy this now, it's going to get expensive in the future. And I'll probably order the Psycho Collection Volume 1. I just got to get my money right. Okay, so for the Xbox 360 now, there was a ton of shooters released in Japan, and most of those are sold out, but one of the shooters that is still available on PlayAsia's website is Dodonpachi Resurrection. Now, I will say, admittedly, I don't know a ton about this series, but I am a fan of bullet hell shooters, and this does remind me of Crimson Clover. So it just looks like the kind of game I would like, and it's kind of pricey. It's a $50 game. But it's a Japanese exclusive, and I did do a little bit of research. You can find used copies on eBay just a little bit cheaper, but if you want a new copy, I feel like this is the most viable option, and it does look like a series of games that I'm really going to get into, but you do need a modded Xbox 360 to play multi-region games because this game will not work on your NTSC U Xbox 360. Okay, so this is an interesting game. This is Phantom Breaker, which is a 2D fighter, but a game in the series that actually recently got released for the PlayStation 4 and the Vita is Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, which is a beat-em-up style of game. But this is a game in the series, and it looks pretty good. So this game's a little pricey on PlayAsia's website. It's like $70. So I think if I could find it under $50 or if I could find it for a deal, yeah, I'll jump on board. Okay, so this game looks really interesting. It was released for PS4 and Vita. I just chose to talk about it on the Vita, and that's Unepic. Now, it's funny because I was going to talk about a different game. There was actually 2 games that sold out upon the recording of this video, so I kind of had to move some things around, but this looks really interesting. So a bunch of kids are playing Dungeons and Dragons, something happens in the house, and then it turns into like a straight Metroidvania style of game. And that kind of reminds me of that show Stranger Things. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And like a Metroidvania style of game, unlike, Dead Cells, games like that. I think that genre of game has really been revived in 2018. And I'm looking forward to see what kind of games they make this year in 2019. But again, this looks like an interesting game. And I was going to talk about a different game, but I stumbled upon this. And I'd heard someone talk about it about a month ago. And I usually don't play games like this, but just the subject matter and everything, just everything this game encompasses looks pretty awesome. So yeah, Unepic, I think I'm going to order this the next go around. And it looks like a pretty cool game that East Asia Soft has put out on PlayAsia. Okay, so guys, those are just some of the games that I feel like are worth mentioning on PlayAsia's website. Now, there's many more, so I'm probably going to do some more videos like this. So what games did I not talk about? What games are on that site that are awesome that I need in my life? Let me know in the comments down below, or let me know what you've been ordering on their site. Give me some insight as to some more awesome games that I can order from PlayAsia. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Now, remember to like this video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, Peace out.